Hello guys, Mr. Luna here. Let's talk about geometric sequences formulas. All right, let's begin with this one. So these problems might be a little bit complicated, but once you understand the principles, the concepts, I'm sure that it's going to become much easier. So let's go ahead and try to understand what we're seeing here. So first of all, you have this geometric sequence. It's a different lesson than geometric series, which we haven't started yet. So d of n equals 5 over 16 times 2 raised to the n minus 1 power. Okay? And the question is, what is the fifth term in the sequence? Well, there are two types, and for these problems, you're going to have two types of questions. Or two types of problems. You're going to have explicit problems and recursive problems, or recursive um, formulas or sequences. Okay? I hope you understand. So let's go ahead first and how do we tackle this question? Well, this one is pretty explicit. It tells us what is the fifth term in the sequence. Now you need to understand that n is the number of terms, and they're providing the number of terms. They're saying that n equals 5. So the fifth term, that's the same as to say n equals 5. All right? So what is the fifth term? So basically this one is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You just substitute 5 um, by n, or n by 5, and you solve it. All right? So let's see. Maybe when solving it, you might have some issues. And so we're going to do this together. All right, so in both cases, let me go ahead and write this number a little bit smaller. Okay. In both cases right here, you have to plug in 5. You see, n here is 5. So you have to plug in 5 here and 5 here. So that would be the first step. The first step is understanding that n equals 5. Second step is plugging in 5. The third step is to solve it. So d of n, it's going to be on this side. So we're going to leave 1 over 16 alone for now. And let's work with, we're going to leave 2 like that for now. And let's work on this. 5 minus 1 is 4. So that would be the first thing that you should do. The second thing, we're going to leave this as it is for now. And we're going to solve this. Well, 2 raised to the 4th power. What is it? Well, what that means is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 4 times. You can just use a calculator, or you can multiply 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 4 times. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And 8 times 2 is 16. So 2 raised to the 4th power is 16. Now you can see what's going on here. 16 and 16 cancel each other out. And you'll end up with d of 5 equals 5. Now pay attention to this. Not every time the term of the sequence is going to be the result. Not every time. Okay? One thing is the fifth term, and the other thing is the number of terms. Okay? The number of terms is 5, and the fifth term is also 5. Let's take a look at another example so that you can see what I'm talking about. But I hope you understood how we worked with this one. Let's hope that for the next question, you can do it. So feel free now. So let's go ahead and work with another explicit example. Feel free to pause the video and see if you can solve this problem. All right, let's go ahead. So the first thing that you need to know, remember, n, you have two n's, and they ask you, what is the third term in the sequence? Well, n, the first thing that you should do is n equals 3. Okay, and the second thing is to plug in 3. Wherever you see an n, you're going to plug in 3. So 4 over 9 times negative 3, and then you have 3 minus 1. All right. And then you start with solving here. 4 over 9 times 3, negative 3. And 3 minus 1 is 2. So, okay, you do this one. Now you do this part right here. Okay, you leave this as it is, 4 over 9. Then you multiply it. Okay, so negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9 because negative times a negative is a positive. So positive 9. Okay, now you can clearly see that C of 3 equals what? 9 cancels with 9, like 1 and 1. And so you'll have 4. C of 3 is 4. That's what I told you before. In the previous example, we had that the fifth term was 5 and that n was 5. But now here, n is 3 and C of 3 is 4. Okay, so the third term here is 4. Okay, and that's what C of n represents. It represents the term, specific term. All right, so that's good. Now let's work with, feel free to pause the video, repeat the video. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you can send me an email or ask questions the next time we have a tutoring session. All right, let's take a look at this one. We're gonna have two more problems. So here we have the first problem is d of 1 equals 8. Okay, very explicit. D of 1 equals 8. We're gonna use this. Okay, we're gonna do substitution here. And if they tell you d of n equals d of n minus 1 times negative 5. Now they're asking, what is the third term in the sequence? Well, this is recursive. This is a recursive series. Recursive. So we need to go it one step at a time. The step number 1, we have the first term already. D of 1 equals 8. That's the first term. But we don't have the second term. So let's go ahead and find the second term, and then we can find the third term. So find the second term. And the second term is going to be d of 2. So d of 2 equals d of n, and then n you're going to have write 2 minus 1 times negative 5. Now you can see clearly here that 2 minus 1 equals 1. So that equals, let me just write it here so that you can see it better. D of 1 times negative 5. Well, D of 1, you have D of 1 already. D of 1 is here, is 8. So D of 2 equals 8 times negative 5, which is negative 40. So there you go. D of 2 is negative 40, but that doesn't solve my problem. My problem is the third term, D of 3. So what is D of 3? All right, so far so you can pause the video. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna delete this part. I'm gonna write here, D of 2 equals negative 40. So that I have space to work with the next problem. So we're gonna do the same, just using the formula, using that formula, sorry, d of n equals d d of n minus 1 times 5, negative 5. We're going to substitute it. Okay, so let's start with d of 3, okay, because that's what we're looking for. So d of 3 equals d, okay, so now you see where I'm going. I'm going to write it here just for explanatory purposes. D of 3 minus 1 times negative 5. Because once you understand it, you don't have to do this part. Because d of 3 minus minus 1, it's actually d of 2, right? D of 2. You see? 3 minus 1, d of 2. So you're going to have d of 1. For the next one, you're going to have d of 2. For d of 4, you're going to have d of 3, and so on and so forth. It's going to be much easier to do it. So now we know that d of 2 is what? Negative 40. So negative 40. D of 2 is negative 40 times negative 5. Okay, and the answer here is, get my calculator out. Okay, and 40 times 5 is 200. And negative times negative is positive. So 200. D of 3 equals 200. You see? That's what we call recursive. All right, let's do one more and then we're done. One more. Okay, for this one, I want you to pause the video and do it yourself. Pause the video and do it yourself. All right, let's move on. Let's see, let's confirm our results. Um, A of 1 equals 5 over 3, or 5/3. So you have the first one, the first term, A of 1 equals 5 over 3. And they asked me, what is the third term? So I have to do the same again. I need to find my second term. What is my second term first? So that I can find my first, so that I can find my third term. So A of, in this case, 2 minus 1 times negative 9. Okay, then for the next time, we're not going to do this part because we know now that with a recursive sequence, what you're going to have is the next number is going to be your previous, like this part here is going to be your previous number of the sequence. And so basically A of 2 minus 1 is what? Is A of 1 because 2 minus 1 is 1. And so what you do here, for the next one, we're going to plug in A of 2. So here we plug in 5 over 3 because we have that. We know that A of 1 is 5 over 3. And then we multiply it by negative 9. And then you know that the answer is this is 1, this is 3, and negative 3, 5 times 3 is 15. So negative 15. A of 2 is negative 15. All right, and then you can pause the video if you didn't understand one of the steps. A of 2 equals negative 15. So A of 2 equals negative 15. All right, let's do the next step. As you can see, this one doesn't have a power, so it's much, much easier. So now we have A of 3 equals, remember what I said, this one is the very next term. So this one is going to be negative 15 times negative 9. Okay, and N of 3 equals what? Get your calculator out, and you know that negative times negative positive, you just need to multiply 15 times 9, 136. Positive. That's your third term. That's what you would write in that section right there. Well, that's all, guys, for today. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Good. Bye.